Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So I've got two pretty interesting pieces of news here, all about publishing here. So we're going to start with the first one here, which is the listing for a new kind of re-release, reprint comic. And as you can see here, it is the Avatar The Last Airbender, The Lost Adventures, and Team Avatar Tales Omnibus Edition. So straight away, the significant thing here is it's an Omnibus Edition, and it's for... This is, of course, the collected edition of The Lost Adventures short story collection and also Team Avatar Tales. You can see the cover here. We have seen this cover before on the library edition of this very same book, as you can see here. So this, in essence, is just going to be this big hardcover book, just smaller, cheaper, and obviously in the omnibus format, of course. They are going to be charging $29.99 for this, and it's going to come out June 3rd, 2025. And that's basically all the significant information that we have on this. It is a bit more expensive than other omnibus editions, but that's because this collection is a bigger book than a trilogy. This is like basically 300 pages versus, of course, a standard trilogy is like just over 216 pages with some extras, whereas this is 300 with some extras. The omnibus should have the extras as well, because with this book, of course, you don't have to worry about annotations, because this is an Avatar library edition that doesn't actually have annotations, because there's so many short stories and it involves so many different creators. So interesting new omnibus release for kind of the middle of next year. I don't think we were super expecting this necessarily. I hadn't seen many people super asking for this, but I think it makes sense, and it probably confirms to us that Dark Horse, as part of their plans, they do want to have all of their books available in their initial printings, the single kind of releases, but they also want to have everything out in omnibus format and also library edition hardcover. So this fills in a gap, and I guess opens the door and probably half confirms that they probably will do, for instance, an omnibus edition for Team Avatar Treasury. The one-shots for Katara, Toph, and Suki, they just got a library edition a few months ago. I'm assuming this opens the door to them getting an omnibus as well. It'd be a bit weird if they didn't. The only thing that might get in the way of that is that would be like the third or fourth kind of release of those books, because of course they did the box set of the initial releases, but this book, I think, is sort of evidence that they probably will do it. They might wait a little bit, but I'm assuming we'll get an omnibus for those books at some point down the line. So cool to see. I know some people have been waiting for this, because I think some people just really do like that format. I think the omnibus is a nice format in that it cuts down on the amount of books, but you're not paying tons for all of these giant books. So it's probably the most cost effective and efficient way to get all of the books, and there's some really good stuff in especially the Lost Adventures, of course. So that's that. Then we get into this. So Free Comic Book Day 2025, they have started to announce the comics for the event, which will of course be May next year. I think it's May 3rd, 2025. They still have this year's event up, but just a few minutes ago they announced the gold comics. There will be the silver ones later, but our Avatar comic is here, so we have one of the gold versions for this year. If you are waiting for the silver ones, I'll keep an eye out just to see if they happen to maybe throw a Korra comic maybe in on the silver ones. They're going to be revealed on Thursday. But as we go through here, you can see we very quickly get down to this. So this is the Dark Horse comic. Most of it is going to be Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. It's going to get the cover, also featuring Avatar The Last Airbender. We do have the description straight away. So if we ignore the Star Wars bit, we get this as our core description. In Avatar The Last Airbender Free Comic Book Day tale, Samurai Appa and Ronin Momo find themselves at a beleaguered Fire Nation noodle house, where some of the clientele are tougher customers than the owner would like. So interesting straight away. We're doing Samurai Appa and Ronin Momo, which I've got to admit, when I first read that, I was like, what is it going to be? What short story are they going to do? They didn't have one last time out. What's it going to be this year? And I saw Samurai Appa. I was just like, no. I'm interested to see how they do this, because my initial thoughts on this are that, well, that basically means the book is, in essence, non-canon, because this is going to be like a dream sequence or something like that, or it's going to be set in a sort of, fantasy world where Samurai Appa and Ronin Momo are actually characters, because they only appear in Nightmares and Daydreams, and that's just in Aang's head. Momo and Appa aren't actually a samurai and a Ronin. So what are we doing here? Is it another dream sequence type thing? Is it going to be some maybe weird situation where maybe someone is, hallucinating or something like that, and they view Appa and Momo, who are actually doing something, as being a samurai and a Ronin, and that way you can actually make something out of it? Or is it just going to be fun times with the weird versions of the characters? It makes it very difficult to maybe care too much about the story, because it's just like, they're going to do something around a Fire Nation noodle house, and the customers are tougher than the owner would like. I honestly do not know what to make of this at all. This is a very, very weird choice, because we've got to assume we'll be in May 2025. We'll probably have some more significant information on Avatar Studios. We'll probably know a little bit more about the overall publishing plans for Avatar and stuff like that. This just feels weird in that, is this just like we've had before, where these are just sort of random stories? Is this maybe part of a collection of stories that we will see kind of at some point down the line, which is kind of interesting given that they've just announced pretty much the final collected edition for this book, but there are still some other Free Comic Book Day books that need to get collected, like what Matcha Makers, the Toph comic from, 2023, and then this one I guess is going to have to get collected somewhere as well. So is there going to be another Avatar short story collection announced at some point? Hard to say. But yeah, it definitely, it's one of those things where okay, we're going to get another release this year. That seems a little bit odd as the story. Though what I will say is that the Toph comic from a few years back wasn't super interesting. I've never seen people discuss that book online. I think it was just really, really forgettable. So maybe this being more kind of on the crazy oddball side of things is actually going to work in the comic's favor, where if they acknowledge that maybe they're not doing anything significant in terms of character or story advancement, that they might as well go for something kind of whimsical to a certain degree, that might actually work in the comic's favor. The final thing I'll say about this is just for maybe people hoping to get this, especially outside of America, the fact that it is linked with Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, I think puts this in a bit of a weird licensing situation, because I think we have had situations before where when Avatar's been paired up with, I think specifically it's Dark Horse Star Wars books, sometimes the comic stores, especially in Europe and stuff like that, don't get these ones in. So this is one to keep an eye out for, especially in the lead up to the event, about sort of checking with your local comic book store. Are they going to be getting in all of the Free Comic Book Day books, and is this one actually there or not? And because there has been times where I've been ready to go to Free Comic Book Day, and then it turns out, wait, this is one of the one or two books that my local comic book store don't have because I'm in Ireland. I think that was the case with the last one and one of the ones before that, because Avatar and Star Wars do tend to get paired up quite a bit. So that is just speculation right now, but my understanding from some of the previous years is that I think that is the weird situation when it comes to licensing. I don't really know the full situation because obviously Marvel do most of the comics, but Dark Horse get to do some of these more kind of kids style comics, and it's a bit of a weird situation, so one to keep an eye out for. But yeah, that has been the video. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. Omnibus edition for Lost Adventures and Team Avatar Tales. One quick thing I probably should mention on this. There is one slight difference to the cover, and that is that, of course, the library edition has the older style logo for the franchise with the text here. Whereas, of course, the image that we can see here has the more updated Avatar Studios version of the logo that a lot of the publishing has switched to, where we have the 4 kind of element symbols here in replacing the text. So that is at least one update, because I believe I had actually seen this on the site a couple days beforehand, but I'd scrolled past it because it's like, oh yeah, that's just the library edition that's just this book. But then I kind of quickly latched onto like, oh wait, that's a little bit different. And wait, it says Omnibus at the end. And I realized, wait, that's actually something new. So just a little bit of details on that. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this Omnibus edition? And then also, we are getting an Avatar Free Comic Book Day book for 2025, of course. And just to confirm, yes, Saturday, May 3rd is going to be Free Comic Book Day for 2025. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.